everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Let's Do It Afraid podcast. How are you doing, Yvette?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited. Today we have such a special guest. Estamos de manteles largos, as you would say in Spanish. I don't know how we would say that in English, but we have such a cool guest on today. He is a singer, songwriter, amazing human. I am a little biased because he just happens to be my little brother, but that's okay. So welcome, Zaylani. How are you doing today?
Very, very good. I'm over here in Chicago right now, so I'm like 2 hours ahead of you guys. Um, but I ended up thinking it was the opposite, so I woke up like 4 hours too early, you know.
I'm so sorry.
I know it's not even your fault, it's mine. So it's
Well, thank you for coming on, and I'm sorry that you didn't get to sleep as much as you would like to, because I'm sure you were prepared ahead of time. And
all
I mean, we just roll with the punches. I was just telling Myra that earlier. I'm like, we've been rolling with the punches, and I know she's a little bit more organized than I am, and I'm like used to my schedule falling off track, so I'm like, I'm fine with it. I just make it go. And she's like, "Oh my God, what do I do if it doesn't work out?" I'm like, just go with it. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
It is Monday, so it is definitely Monday Eve. And if you're listening to the podcast, I really do just suggest that you go today to watch it also on YouTube because you don't want to miss seeing this beautiful man's face. Zaylani not only deserves to be heard, but he deserves to be watched. And so, just if you can, I would highly recommend that you go over to the YouTube page and watch him as well. Watch the interview. I don't know if I've told Zaylani this, but originally I really wanted him to be our first guest. It didn't really work out that way because of scheduling and things like that. He's a huge superstar, things like this happen. But he ended up not being our first guest. But the reason that I really wanted him to be our first guest is because he has been such an inspiration in me even starting this podcast. He is my younger brother. I know I look way younger than he does. I know, but as hard as it is to believe, he is younger than I am. And so, as an older sister, you kind of feel the pressure to be a good role model for them. But in my case, it's actually been the opposite because I, as we talked before, always loved singing. I even recorded an album, but I never actually did anything with it. I just kind of got the stage fright got the best of me, the self-doubt, and eventually I just started believing that I wasn't good enough. And so I kind of stopped and I told myself I don't want to do this anymore. With Zaylani, I've watched him since a little boy perform in, family functions, perform in the choir. He was in a band for a little bit. Now he's doing his solo. He's doing our singing as a solo artist. And I've never seen him, I've never heard him ever say something like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sure he's thought it possibly, but I've never actually heard him say that. And so it's just been a really beautiful thing to watch. So I just really wanted to say that I admire you so much. And I'm just so honored to be your sister. And um, I know that people will hear this interview and be so inspired by you as I have been. And just they'll hear your music that's also so inspiring. And just the way you talk, the way you carry yourself. You have something that when I feel like when I'm in your presence, I feel like $1,000,000 and I feel like I can do anything. And so I really want people to, that's why I wanted you on here. I wanted you one of our first guests because I know that people will have that same experience. I know that they're going to listen to this interview and be so inspired by you and be like, damn, like if he can do it, I can do it too.
I hope so. I hope so. I You've always been an inspiration to me, so it's kind of interesting to hear that 180. But yeah, that's cool.
Awesome. I love this full circle. I feel like you guys are both rubbing off each other's energy.
Mm.
And I felt that when we did meet before we went into all the recordings and we were talking, I did see the inspiration bounce off of each other. And I do love to see that connection because Elani is very much, I feel like he's not shy, but in moments of like before getting to something, I feel like we all get kind of stage fright or nervous in any kind of way, but I commend you guys for doing what you guys love to do and being brave and being confident. Even though sometimes we're our worst critics, I was talking to Myra about this the other day. Like, I sat there and watched our interviews and I was like, dude, you did so good. Like, you're so good at this. You're meant for this. And then she's like, no, I was talking to myself and did the same thing. Like, oh my God, I could have done this better. And I was like, I did the same exact thing. And it's so ironic how we like both self-critique ourselves, but then we admire the other. And I was like, well, then that must mean that we're doing great because at the same time, like, this is teamwork and it's part of the journey.
The first question that I wanted to ask you, Zaylani, is what is the biggest fear that you're struggling with at the moment? I know if we think about it too much, you might say like, oh, well, I'm afraid of dying or I'm afraid of my family dying. But more, I want to focus on like a fear that you're struggling with right now, today, in this moment.
Mm, fear right now. Let's think about that for a second. Mm, probably, probably like like letting feelings of like how Yvette was saying of like not be feeling like you're good enough and all that stuff. Like I'll get that as well, and that can be a fear because it kind of stops me from continuing. I hold myself back. Nobody else really holds me back except for myself. And so that is scary to me because I need to stop listening to that little voice in my head, you know, or maybe fix what he thinks about me.
And are there any tools or something that kind of helps you when you get into those moments or when you do start hearing those voices that kind of help you to push through?
Being with like-minded individuals really helps. Like my friend Andre or listen to music stuff, being around people who are musicians and seeing them do well inspires me to do well, or at least to keep going.
Do you kind of want to tell the viewers a little bit about yourself in your own words?
Oh, yeah, sure. I always liked music. Um, you would record me when I was a little baby singing Backstreet Boys, and we'd always be listening to music, and I was dancing and stuff. And then I wanted to play the guitar because I wanted to like be able to sing my own songs and stuff. So I was able to like kind of teach myself how to play guitar eventually. But our brother Eric was an inspiration in that and in playing the guitar. And see, in high school, I did choir and was on like yeah, did choir. Would sing to like people like on Valentine's Day, which is interesting.
Oh, you bring me back to high school.
Yeah, yeah,
When they would go in the classrooms and come and sing these Valentine songs, I was like, that is so cute. Like serenata in real life in class. Like, what else? What could be better?
that's I saw some people do that like when I was a freshman, and I was like, I need to do that. So I ended up
Yeah, that's
doing
awesome.
it. And then after that, I can't remember exactly when I joined the band, but I was a guitarist for a band, and we played Mexican music, which was really I got really into like corridos and stuff like that, but like, also romantic songs. I've always been more of the romantic guy. And then I was in that band for about a year. And after that, I wanted to make my own music. So I started recording by myself. Well, not by myself, because I didn't know how to do that. But my friend invited me to a studio one time, and I met my friend Mines. He's a producer, and he's a really good guy. And I started recording with him. And he lived close to our house. So he'd be like, "Come over, bro, come over, and let's record." And so that's basically how I got that start in self-recording or figuring out my sound behind the microphone because I didn't really know how to record music. And that was always tough to figure out your sound, or to figure out your style in anything is kind of just tough, you know.
I feel
And here
like
we
you're
are
really
today.
good at that though, because I did see Myra teaching me some stuff of how to use mics and stuff. I was like, oh, she's like, yeah, my brother Luis knows how to do this. I was like, that's so awesome how it like all works out, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's it's just a learning process, but once you get it, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's like anything.
And I know that I joke a lot. Like I'll constantly say this joke to people where I'd be like, I took full credit for Luis's talent because I was his first singing teacher.
Yeah.
And it is so true because I was the one that had a karaoke machine in my room, and he was probably around 3. So I was, I don't know, maybe 16, around there, 17. And so he would come into my room and I would, of course, make him sing all the good stuff, all the classics, some little Backstreet Boys and things like that. And that's when I started noticing that like, this wasn't just something he liked to do. Like, he was really talented and he was passionate about it. So that's kind of the age where I noticed it. But what's the age that you, Zaylani, noticed that you enjoyed singing, that you actually wanted to do this professionally as a career?
Honestly, I just always wanted to be a rock star, so it didn't, like ever since I was really little, like even 7, 6, all that. Like when they would ask me at school what I want to be, people always wanted to be like an astronaut or a firefighter or whatever. I just wanted to be a rock star. So, you know, whatever it took to get there. Yeah.
That is
So
so cute. Reminds me a lot of your brother Eric.
yeah, that's another reason why I wanted to be a rock star. Yeah. We went to see him a few times in his band and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember, I think that was like Mayra's quinceañera. Sorry, it's been a while ago, but I think he did play for her. I was like, that is so cute.
I don't know if I had to have been, if I was born like 1 year old or something, right?
No, at my quinceañera, you would have been 3 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Abril was a year old, but yeah, giving away my age here. But yes, we're 12 years apart. So if I was 15, he must have been three.
Yeah. So I don't remember the quinceañera, but I know the stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw the video.
No, because it's like in VHS and I can't even, nobody has a VHS anymore. Like, how do you even watch those things?
We'll find you one. We'll find you one.
Eric and his band did perform there and it was interesting. It was fun.
That's funny. I wonder whose idea was it to perform.
It was mine.
Yeah. That's funny.
I just thought it would be cool for him to perform at the quinceañera and, be part of the event. I thought it would be cool. And they were excited, so it was fun.
Yeah, that is cool.
Do you ever get stage fright? Because I know for me, like that's why eventually I stopped because I would get on stage and my voice would be so shaky. I
Mhm.
never really found a way to control the nerves or kind of surpass that stage fright. So do you ever get stage fright? And if so, like how do you get past that?
I get stage fright every time. Like, but I get like anxiety right before I can get on stage. But once I'm on there, I just have to tell myself like either you're gonna do really good or you're gonna do really bad. Pick your battle, right? So, but it's gotten a lot easier to do that because over time, practice, like it's already went well, you can go well again. And I get the shaky voice too. I get that even when I'm speaking to people because I get shy. It does go away after you warm up, like 20 seconds later. It's all just being able to control your mind, honestly, because then you're able to control your body. Also, in terms of singing, if you start with like an easier song, like a song that isn't just to get you warmed up at the beginning, then the rest will go pretty smooth. Typically, I find it. So I usually pick the most easy song for me to go with at the beginning, the song I know the best, or a song with maybe a friend that's part of the song. Um, that always helps, honestly. Yeah.
That is really cool. I don't think I've ever heard that, but that is really cool that you know, okay, if I pick a song that maybe isn't where I'm like completely showing off my vocal range, right? But it's a little bit easier,
Hmm.
does kind of help the voice warm up. And then if you do it with a friend, like if this is because I know you do have a lot of songs where you perform with your friends, which is really beautiful that you kind of have this community that you all perform together. It also helps with the nerves because you're with your friend, he's right there. So it's like then you're just like slowly building up and the anxiety kind of goes away.
Yeah, pretty much. So that you're going through it with your buddy, it makes it so much easier.
Really
Yeah.
cool. I never thought about that. So yeah, thanks for sharing.
I never really thought about that either, but I kind of unconsciously do. 'Cause I'm like, oh, this song, I want to start with this song. But why? No, I know why, I guess.
And do you ever have any insecurities, like in regards to the music industry? Has it instilled any insecurity within you?
Um, Insecure, no, because the music industry is basically just a numbers game. If you got, you can be any kind of person. It doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter what kind of person you are, as long as you're able to generate numbers or attention, money, all that. That's what they care about. So it does when you don't have that, it makes you feel like maybe you're a little bit less than, but in reality, it's like, well, it's just not your time yet. Just find your niche and go into that lane, and you might all work out. But the music industry, they'll listen to you when you got your numbers. So it's not really like a personal thing where I would feel insecure necessarily, but it's something that you do have to think about and work on. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're right. I remember I listened to a lot of podcasts, but one of the ones that I listened to, the the person was saying how um your intention really matters with certain things. So like for example, I feel like if you genuinely come from the place of like music makes me happy and I'm doing this because it brings me joy and I want to bring other people joy, not necessarily, oh, I want to make money, I want to be famous. Because if you start being like, oh, I want to make a lot of money and I want to be famous, then when you're not getting there, it does kind of hurt your self-esteem because that's what you're doing it for. But if
Mhm.
you're doing it from a place of like, well, I want to do this because it makes me happy and I want to bring others joy with my music, then you don't really have that same, I know it didn't instill those same insecurities in you because you're not doing it for those reasons.
Mm. Not even doing it for anyone else. You're just doing it for you. And it's hard enough already to make a really good song. So if you're happy with that, that should already be like even just put it out to the world and see what happens.
How much time do you invest in this a day? Like, do you do this full time or do you have a separate job? What do you think you would recommend to somebody that's barely starting out? I mean, I haven't done singing in a while. I only sing when I'm asked to, or even then I get stage fright. Even if it's like small public settings, I'm just like, I'm not comfortable around you and I'm going to freak out. So I'm just not even going to do it. But what do you recommend for someone that loves singing? Do you recommend them to start like putting more time into it and going into it full time, or like is this something they can work on a daily basis?
I think it all depends on the skill level of the person. Maybe there's some things that people need to work on, but what really helps is, in at least in those cases, like in terms of get the stage fright, if you like prepare a little bit for the moments to when you do get asked. Like, I don't do karaoke honestly because I don't know how to sing other people's songs as good as I could sing my own. So that gives me stage fright when people ask me, "Hey, sing a song." Then I'm like, maybe later. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm just a little bit unprepared, you know,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
for that kind of situation. So
Mm-hmm.
just preparedness is the first thing. Make sure you know how to sing your songs or a song.
Well, what if I think I know how to sing? I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, thinking you know how to do is also the same thing, right?
Yeah.
You're confident in your ability, so that's important. Um, and in terms of like time and how much time you got to put into it, I think everybody needs to just figure out what they can do to make their music comfortably or whatever they want to do comfortably. But the more time you put into something, the better it usually goes. So if you're able to go more full time into something like that, do it. But if you can't and you have to like just fit your time slots there, just do that too. You gotta, life is life and it's not always gonna be so perfect like that. Um, but yeah, the more time you spend on it, the better you'll get.
Do you feel that fame or money will change in any way?
I don't think so. I hope not. I mean, obviously it'll change like financial freedom and all that stuff, being able to pretty much do whatever you want. But I've always just been the same guy. I don't think I'll ever change.
Great. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever feel, because sometimes, I mean, I've even seen put out one music video. I don't remember which one it was, but I know it was when you were like singing. I think you were singing with the guitar and there was like a pool in the background.
Yeah, we actually
Yes.
recorded that there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember I watched the video and then I was like reading the comments and there was some haters on there. And I remember feeling so angry, you know, like, I wanted to attack people. So do you ever, I don't know, does that ever scare you? Like, because you are going to be vulnerable to other people's criticisms and opinions. And even though they don't matter, they can sometimes affect people negatively. So do you ever worry about that?
I'd never worry about that, to be honest. At the end of the day, I am my own worst enemy, and there's really nothing anybody's ever told me that I haven't already probably told myself. Actually, those comments that made you angry made me laugh, you know, because some of them were kind of funny. Yeah.
I
So,
love that. Some people are like, they know how to roll with the punches.
oh yeah, yeah, I like joking around, so it's not really, it wasn't too bad. But I know that if I ever found a comment that got under my skin, I'll let you know, Myra. I'd be like, all right, this one hurt a little bit.
I feel like they're all learning lessons though. Like they help you, like even if we laugh at them in the moment, like they help you build thicker skin because you're so used to it. And again, we are worst critics sometimes, you know? So it's just part of the journey.
But you're right. I think that's why me too, like negative comments don't really scare me. I know, I mean, we haven't really gotten any yet, but I'm sure one day we will. But you're right. Like anything bad you can say, I've already said it to myself. So it's like what you other people say can't hurt me at this point.
I feel the same. Yeah, truly.
You always seem so confident and you really believe in yourself and your music.
Hmm.
Has it ever been hard for you to keep that faith and hope in yourself, like in your craft?
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to stay like constantly going for it because life does get in the way of things, and sometimes you can make songs, and sometimes there's times where I don't make songs for a few months, and it's kind of like I'm putting my own mental barriers there. But as soon as I come back, it starts, the ball rolling again. So it's a up and down thing. A lot of what helps is the supportive people I have around me, like you, mom, everybody. And there's nobody that's not like, that's like, stop, you suck. That everybody is supportive. So that really helps. And it's like, even if I don't feel like I'm confident in my own abilities, everybody else around me does. And so that I'm just like, all right, let's feed off of that energy real quick and stop being so negative.
You do have a very beautiful tribe around you. And I don't just mean like your siblings and your mom, although we are very beautiful, yes. I mean like your friends and the people that you record with. When I see you with them, they all seem very supportive, very loving. There's no jealousy or, you know what I'm saying? Like there's nobody that's like trying to be better than anyone else. It's just you're all trying to make beautiful music together. And I think that having that village, not everyone has, but it's a very beautiful thing to see. And that definitely probably helps you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to make those kind of friends or allies, but it's definitely probably like what a musician should gravitate towards because a lot of people in the industry don't want to see you win. But if you can find a few people who want to see each other win, you guys will all be able to eat together at some point.
Yeah. There was a Tupac quote where he says something about like, you don't want to see you at my table, but I still want to see you eat or something like that. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of
that's
like, yeah, we all want to get to the point where we're all able to eat together. We're all succeeding together.
hmm.
I feel like we need more of that in our community, whether we support each other, whether what industry you are in, it doesn't really matter. Like a lot of the times, I'm more used to seeing people in our Latino community pull each other down instead of bringing each other up. And I feel like you have a great support system with like your internal family too. Like I see your mom and I'm like, oh my God, she's done so much throughout her entire life. Like what an amazing example for everyone around us, you know? And then now Myra and all your siblings, like they all have their own talents and it's amazing to see everybody flourish. And then also having that circle around you, like with your friends that can also support you because a lot of the times it's hard to find those people like you're saying.
It's really hard to find people like that in any industry. Like literally anything you want to do in life, if you find a good community that's helpful and supportive, you'll probably do a lot better than if you find a bunch of negative people that want to see you lose. I think that goes the same for everything, to be honest. It's hard to do anything by yourself. It takes a village a lot of times.
I agree.
What is the message that you always want to send through your music? Or I mean, I guess the purpose behind it, because I know you've kind of done different genres in your life, I do find that you do always talk about love. I feel like that's always like a big theme in your music. So would you say that that's kind of like your message or the purpose that always comes out of your music?
To be honest, I'm just like the most hopeless romantic that it's just all that comes out of me. Like like if I could make a super party song, I would. I'm not that guy, you know? And so because I'm such a in love type of person, or I'm in love with the thought of something, or so everything would just kind of fall like that. Even my melodic lines are very like without even I won't have to say a word, but you can already tell that's going to be like either a sad song or a love song or something. It's just what flows through me. I wish I had like a true. I want everybody to feel special when I'm singing. It's just what I feel, and I'm putting my what I feel out to the world, and hopefully they resonate.
I think to me that's like the most beautiful kind of music is I want music that makes me feel something. I want to feel what they were feeling when they wrote that song and recorded that song.
Exactly.
Myra wants the cortavenas, sorry.
Mara wants to what?
Cortavenas.
What is it? Oh, like to. That's funny.
The songs is because she says her daughter tells her like, ya quita tus cortavenas and like put an upbeat song,
Yeah. Yeah,
you know?
Mario listen to sad songs, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. I pretty much only make sad songs, so I get it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your writing process?
Put on a song I like, a song that makes me feel something. If a song sings to me, I'm able to sing right back to it, with no problems. I usually find a good beat. A lot of times my producers will send me beats and we pick the best ones, or they'll custom make me a beat, which is awesome. I'll put that on. I hit the record button on my computer and just freestyle. Whatever comes out that sounds kind of like I'm mainly looking for a melodic line at the beginning, something catchy, something that I just, fits well with the song, sounds right. And then I'll go back in, re-listen to it, and write to it.
Would you say you kind of have like it's like the music first and then the lyrics um you build on the music, or is it ever the opposite where you kind of like sit down and you just write these lyrics and then you figure out the music?
My writing styles have changed over the years. When I was writing at the same time as like trying to play guitar, sometimes I'd start off with like a word or something that took me like a direction. But nowadays, it's much more smoother to just go in there, record some stuff, lay it down, and pick my favorite, and then build the song from there. It's more of a feeling for me than the actual words. So if I can figure out how to portray what I'm feeling and thinking to the people, that's what I want them. I want them to feel the song before they hear the song, type of thing. So my writing process, it's pretty simple. Just hit record and then go back to it, rework on it. Not too bad.
And what song of all of your songs that you've done are you most proud of at the moment?
It's always just going to be the newest song I make, you know?
Okay.
So like the last song I recorded, I probably think is better than everything else that I recorded previously. It's not out yet, but it is called Soul, and it's a really, really good song. Actually, it's one of the first songs my mom was like, wow, this song is actually, I really like this song. It makes me feel something.
I feel like we build on our previous experience, and then you feel like that is 10 times better than the last one, maybe. So I feel like you stick to it, and that's awesome. I can't wait to hear that. When does it come out? Do you have a release date yet?
Don't have a release date yet, but I do have the song completely done and mixed and mastered. All I'm waiting for is a cover art, pretty much. A cover art and a little promo video that I might do out here, like with a nice view or something.
So everybody stay tuned and be ready. Follow his stories, and he'll share that later on.
Within the next month.
And I do think that that's like for me, that's the way that you're doing things, to know that you're doing things the right way. You're always most proud of the song that's now. You're not really comparing it to what you did back then. And I feel like as an artist, that's what you want to keep doing, right? You want to keep evolving and you want to keep growing and you want every song, every album to be better than the last. So I just think that that's great that you already know that and you already believe that about yourself because it speaks to how talented you are.
Thank you. Yeah, I never really thought about it that way, but it's a good way to think about it. It's a good perspective to have. It's like it's constantly elevated.
I'm sure you know who the rapper Eminem is, right? We all do, I hope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, you know how he has this song, I never remember what it's called. He says, "You better lose yourself in the moment, you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss this chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime." So have
Mm.
you ever had that moment? Because I know for me, I think that moment happened this year where I was like, okay, I'm either going to do this podcast, it's going to be done this year, even if it's not perfect, or it's just not going to get done. Like I just felt in my soul that it was like now or never. So have you ever had a moment like that?
I think I've had so many moments like that where you just kind of gotta go for it and fully immerse yourself. Otherwise, it's gonna be mediocre. I think probably the first time I ever really had to feel that, like feeling of like losing yourself in order to even just enjoy the moment. It was like the first time I actually had to sing in public, with Reina, and I was like 16 or
Oh, I
some.
was there. Yeah, yeah.
You were
In
there in
South Park.
Hillsburg? Was it South Park? Oh yeah. No, no, no. But this was another time. This is Hillsburg. This was like
Oh,
right a little bit before. This is the first time because that would have been like the second or third time. Um, but yeah, that first time before I got on stage, I was dying. My heart was pounding. I couldn't even breathe. I don't even know what. But that was the first time I had to tell myself like either you're gonna do good or you're gonna do bad. Pick your battle. And I did as good as I could at the time. You know. So I think that,
yeah.
and also that was the first day that stage fright to me seemed controllable. Before that, I never felt that. I would be scared to sing in front of anyone. Once I grew up a little bit and started like dealing with self-esteem things, that's when it started getting kind of like hard to be, creative in front of people. It kind of was like almost got embarrassed for being talented. That was probably the first time that like switch happened. And I knew that it was mind over matter at that point.
That's great that you had that um, mentality or even recognize that about yourself because as you're saying, the moment you got self-conscious or had to deal with like moments of maybe not feeling like you were at your best or looked your best is when that switch in your mind kind of had to happen. Like I'm either going to do this or I'm not. Like my mind has to be stronger than all of this fear and anxiety that's happening inside of me. And hearing you say that, I remember having a similar experience when I got pregnant with my daughter and I was singing in public and I was starting to feel self-conscious because obviously my belly was growing, right?
Mm,
And I think that that's the moment that I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like
mm,
it's not making me happy. It's causing so much anxiety and insecurity inside of me that I don't like that. I think that's the moment my mind was just like, you're done.
yeah,
So I think it's beautiful that you were able to have the same experience, but still be able to push through and get to the other side.
it's interesting because I didn't know that you sang when you were pregnant. That's crazy. But yeah, I can see how you would feel like maybe there's some kind of self-consciousness because you don't look like who you typically look like at that moment, right? Was there ever anything that helped you? Things that you could tell yourself or
No, when I was younger, I think I was comfortable in my own skin. I remember I used to have this like bright orange outfit. It was like a bright orange shirt and a bright orange pants. And our older brother Eric would joke and be like, I can see you from a mile away. But I felt so confident in that outfit, you couldn't tell me nothing.
mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I was just always had this confidence where I kind of believed in myself and I believed in my craft. But slowly, I think the voices start happening and you start believing, well, maybe I'm not good enough and I'm not pretty enough and I don't deserve to be on this stage. And I think that there got to a point where the voices just got louder and my mind just wasn't strong enough to fight them anymore, I guess.
Yeah. I think you're doing well because you were able to fight them already again to
Yeah,
start the second. So
you're right. Thank you. Yes, yes, I am. Yes, we are, huh, Yvette? Yes, we are.
Yes, one day at a time. I tell her this all the time. Like sometimes we're in the middle of it and I'm like, oh my God, we could have done better. Oh my God, this would have been different in whatever. And I'm like, no, the conversations really flow and it all get better with every episode. Just like you're saying, your songs get better and better over time. And
Mhm.
experience and knowing how to improve, there's always room for improvement. So just getting better every day. And it also gives other people the example of we progress over time. And it's not, you're not going to start off knowing every single bit of everything of how to do anything because that's just how we learn. Like I told Myra, just we record ourselves and then see what happens from there. Like it's just, it's a chance that we take and we won't know until we're there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that with anything in life. You actually most things, unless you got really lucky beginner's luck, most people are bad at things that they just start doing,
Yeah.
and they over time. So just got to put in your 10,000 hours on anything, and you might become the best at it.
I know you already kind of told us, but is there anything else that we can expect from Zaylani in the next couple of months or something we should be on the lookout for?
Just new music, videos. I'm working on getting a music video for the new song Soul that I'm probably gonna record with my friend Luis Montoya. He's a really good director.
And where can people find you? Do you want to share your socials of where people can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Zaylani Music, Zaylani Music. Pretty much like that on everything else. Yeah, Zaylani on Spotify, Zaylani Music on YouTube. Wherever you listen to music, you can find my music.
Nice. And we do have two questions that we like to end all of our interviews with. The first one is, what is the best advice that you've ever received? And then what is the worst advice that you've ever received?
The best advice I've ever received. Let's see, it's a tough question. I've received a lot of good advice in life, which is probably why I feel so good in life at the moment. But really, just to keep going and not worry about what other people think. That's just always been. You don't care what people think, and you only care what you think. You probably go further in life because that's where confidence comes from. And the worst advice, oof, I've also had a lot of very bad advice, actually. I don't think about it. A lot of terrible, terrible advice. Like falling in love early is pretty bad advice because it's probably better to just focus on a career and, elevate yourself in all aspects of life so that when you are ready to find that partner, you guys are good. So don't fall in love too early.
That's good advice. Yeah, I mean that's not good advice, but I'm glad you're saying it. Thank you so much for coming on here. We just appreciate you so much. You know, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And thank you for being on the episode.
Thank you for having me. It's been a really fun experience. I hope to do it again another time.
We hope so too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.